Baby, come give me something, oh.
Morphology is the branch of grammar which studies the structure of words. It contains a minimal unit of meaning of grammatical function that is the central concern of morphology, called morpheme. Morphology are sorted into two types: free morphemes that have a meaning in and of themselves. They can stand alone and function as a word. Some examples include the, run, dog, house. Bound morphemes cannot stand on their own as one word, and so they must be attached to a free morpheme. In English, these occur as prefixes and suffixes. Some examples include this, ill, itty, and iffy. Bound morphemes are said to be either derivational. These morphemes give us information about what a word means. Example, the prefix "ill" in the word illegal means not, which tells us that meaning of illegal is not legal. Inflectional. These morphemes convey grammatical information in a sentence. Example, the prefixes "er" and "est" signal degrees of something, hotter and hottest, one more intense than just hot. And we can tell this by the suffixes. Of the non-root morphemes in the words that we have looked so far, those that precede the root, like n, in, and large, are called prefixes, while those that follow it are called suffixes, like ens in performance, ness in witness, and able in readable. We have encountered far more suffixes than prefixes, and that is not an accident. There are indeed more suffixes than prefixes in English. Compounds are words formed by combining roots, and the much smaller category of phrasal words. There are items that have the internal structure of phrases but function syntactically, as words, for example, newspaper, headline.
Morphology is the study of words, how they are formed, and their relationship in the same language in linguistics. The word morphology compounds by base morph form structure Greek morpheme form like amorphous, metamorphosis, polymorphic, anthropomorphic. In the second part, the connector vowel O vowel indicates word of Greek origin. The semi-last log base, the speech word account reason Greek logos like logic, psychology, eulogy, geology. Those were an examples like a log at this case. And the last one is the Y suffix. So morphemes is the smallest unit can carry meaning in a word. So morphemes divided by two noun words, at this case bound and free. Bound compounds by affix, at this case derivational, inflectional. Prefix like on, re, anti. Suffix like nes, cheap, east. Inflectional like suffix er, ed, east. And but also contractible, at this case is or will, then function that auxiliary verbs or verb to be. So pre, at this case, open class, closed class. It compounds by noun words like nouns, verb, adverbs, conjunctions, prepositions, and pronouns. Thanks.
Well, hello and welcome to the second part of this lesson. The first one was based on morphology, and now we're gonna focus on phonetics now. This phonetics class is going to be talking about the consonants of English, yeah? So to begin with, let's remember that phonetics in general is the study and the classification of speech sounds. Within phonetics itself, there's going to be three different branches. The first one, articulatory phonetics. The second one, acoustic phonetic. And the third one, auditory phonetics. For today, we will only focus on articulatory phonetics. Now, the objective for this lesson is to understand how consonants in English work within the articulatory phonetics. And in order to do this, we're going to look at three different things. First, the manner. Second, the place of articulation. And third, the voicing. So the first one, which is the manner, is basically how the air is released from our speech organs in order to produce certain sounds. Remember that the speech organs is basically everything within our body that we use to produce sounds. I can be talking about my tongue, my lungs, my diaphragm, my teeth even. How is the air released from our speech organ? That is a manner. And there are basically 5 manners, or 4 to 5 manners, it depends on 4 to 5 different manners to produce sounds. Now, the first one is the plosive, the second one is fricative, the third one is affricate, the fourth one is approximate, and last but not least, the last one is to consider nasalization. Now, the first one, which is the plosive manner, is when the air is completely blocked and then it is released. An easy way to remember this is to think about a balloon popping because of the sound that it makes. The sound is completely blocked and then released, like in pop, in can, in bob, and in tent. The fricative manner is when the air is partially blocked. You can think, for example, about a ball that is deflating. The sound is partially blocked. The air, when it's coming out, is partially blocked. Now, different sounds in English of fricative manners are as in fun, v as in van, th as in that, and s as in sun. The third manner is the affricate, and it is basically a mix between the plosive and the affricate. This is because the air is almost completely blocked at first, and then it is released in a fricative way. Um, a great way to remember this sound, or this manner rather, is to think of a choo-choo train. Ch, ch is an affricate sound. Choo-choo, or edge, the j at the sound, and in the word edge, j, j, that is also an affricate sound. The fourth manner is the approximant, and it is called approximant because the air approximately passes through 2 different articulators or speech organs. Now think of the word water. When you say the w in water, your mouth is not completely closed. There's a little gap in between your lips. Some approximant sounds are w in water, y in yellow, and erd, like in the word red. Now, the last thing to consider about manner is the nasalization, and this is basically to think whether is the air passing through my mouth, through my oral cavity, or is it going out through my nose, through my nasal cavity. Now, the best way to check this is to clench or close your nose. If you cannot make a sound with your nose closed, then it's definitely a nasal sound. Let's think of the word man. Now, that sound at the beginning of man is nasal. And if I close my nose when I try to say it, it won't work. Check it out. Or as in nose. Because the air is coming out through my nose. If my nose is not open, I will not be able to produce that sound. Now, the second part of our lesson is the place of articulation. And it is basically which parts of our body, of our speech organ, sorry, which parts make contact in order to produce sound. Now, there are 6 different ones: the labial, labiodental, dental, alveolar, velar, and glottal. The first one is bilabial, and it's pretty easy to define because we basically use both of our lips to produce that sound, like b, p, and Labiodental sounds are made when the lower part of my lips touch the upper teeth, as in or the dental articulatory, the dental place of articulation, sorry, is when the upper teeth and the tip of the tongue make contact. Uh, there's only two dental sounds in English, which are and v. Now the alveolar place of articulation is when the tip of the tongue touches the alveoli, which is right behind our upper teeth. The best way to remember this one I have found that is thinking about a bell. Ding, ding, that sound d, 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 is produced in an alveolar place of articulation because our tongue is touching the alveoli. Other sounds are t, s, and z. Now the velar place of articulation is when the doors, which is the middle part of our tongue, raises to touch the hard palate. An easy way to remember this one is to say kick, because the k, k, k is a velar sound. Other sounds are the g and as in ring or ding. Now the last one is the glottal, produced out of glottis, which is pretty much inside our necks. It is also done when it is between the vocal cords or the vocal folds. In English, it's pretty easy to remember because there's only one glottal sound, which is the sound, as in high. Now, the third part of this lesson is gonna talk about voicing, and it is the way in which our vocal cords react when we try to make a sound. It basically responds or answers to the question, is it vibrating? So we have two types of voicing, vibrating and voiceless. In the vibrating sounds, the vocal cords vibrate. It's easy to know because you can feel your throat vibrate. For example, you can say, and you will feel how your throat is vibrating. However, in the voiceless sounds, the vocal cords do not vibrate. If you say the sound as in father, you'll see that it does not vibrate. You can try it yourselves. There's no vibration. Now I want us to practice because we need to understand how these three work together: the manner, the place of articulation, and the voicing. So let's think about the sound and mom. Now, what manner is it? It is nasal indeed because remember, if my nose is closed, then I can't produce that sound. Therefore, it's a nasal sound. What place of articulation does it have? My lips are touching both of them, so that means that it is a bilabial place of articulation. And what voicing does it have? Is it vibrating? It is definitely vibrating, so I know that it is a vibrating voicing. Now let's look at it the other way around. Let's think of a sound that is fricative, labiodental, and voiceless. Fricative, the air is coming out partially blocked. Labiodental, my lower lip and my teeth are touching, and it's voiceless, so my neck is not vibrating. What sound do you think it is? It is the sound because it is fricative, labiodental, and voiceless. As in father. Now, what happens if we make that same noise, that same sound, but we make it vibrating? It becomes a v, like a van or voiceless, vibrating. Now, that is pretty much the end of this lesson, this short lesson, but it is important to understand why we want to learn this. It is important to understand how this articulatory phonetic works because it gives us tools to understand how our body works in order sorry, to improve our pronunciation. Our pronunciation, because we understand how that specific sound is produced and what we need to change within our bodies to produce that sound. I hope that you really enjoyed it, and I'll see you on the next one.